My name is Bob Kansiime, a member of the Online Church of Uganda. I'm sure I'm not a new face to most of you, if not all of you. If there are new people, I will give glory to God that the numbers are growing. Thanks to God. When I was young, at about age 4, 5, I remember whenever the bishop would be coming to our church. My village is in Mashiruka, in Shema district, formerly Bushei. And my church, my home church is Mashiruka Church of Uganda. So every time the bishop would be coming, like 3 weeks too, there would be a lot of preparation. They would decorate the roads. They would put canopies. They would make a lot of preparation. And then finally the D-Day would come, where everyone is dressed smartly. Of course, the bishop would come on special occasions, either it is confirmation or it is a specific special event at the church, but mostly confirmation. So people would be smartly dressed. And the service would normally start at 10 a.m., but would leave home by 7 a.m., meaning that you have woken up, you've been woken up and prepared by 6 or even 5:30 to make sure that you get there early and you get into a good spot. But I don't remember in those years ever having gotten myself into the church itself, the inside the church. By the time we get there, every time we would find that it is already packed, we are crowded, and the church is packed, the compound is packed. You'd find people already climbing trees to see the bishop. And the best I did at that time was to see his staff going through the people. He said, hey, the bishop is there, that is the staff. And I was like, oh my God, this kind of person whom they prepare so much like this, how wonderful it is to be such. And you know what? I grew up from that time with a dream to be a bishop. Every time I was talking to my parents, my friends, I was like, I want to be a bishop. In my mind, I wanted to have that kind of, attraction that I can attract so many people in one place. Of course, in my young age, I didn't know what it takes to be a bishop. I thought you grow up, you just apply and they make you a bishop. So that was my dream. As I grew up, I realized, no, it takes much more than just dreaming. You have to go through a series of preparation. You must become a catechist, then a lay reader, then go to for theological training, then become a reverend, then you're groomed through. And even then, it is not very automatic to be a bishop. It has to take some panel to sit and decide that you're fit to be or not to be. And it is not only you, but other people that may be available at the time. So as I grew up, my dream to become a bishop started, being diluted, going down. To date, I'm not a bishop. However, I have a few Catholic friends who call me bishop, not because of that dream, but because of my family background. That was one big dream that I had. Then, as I started getting to understand, before I joined the secondary, when I was in P6, P7, I got a dream of becoming a lawyer. And my becoming a lawyer was not to grow into ranks to become a judge. No, I always admired how these guys are talking, are defending, are speaking big words, and everyone is giving them attention. So again, I think my desire was to be a center of attraction, a center of attention. Then as I grew up, also that one went away. I desired to be an engineer. And indeed, that one I pursued all through. I went to secondary, did sciences, got good grades at O level, went for A level, did PCM, wanting to be a civil engineer. at the end of the day, I didn't get the marks to usher me at campus on government. And my parents at the time were not able to sponsor me. But I was given another course on government, which I went and did. I finished just for the sake of finishing. I don't think I enjoyed that course, but I finished it, got a job. My job that I got had nothing to do with what I studied. 3, 4 years down the road of working, I felt I needed to to meet my dream of becoming an engineer. I went back to school, but I did not go to do civil engineering. I did telecom engineering. When I finished telecom engineering, I did not change jobs. Neither did I ever look for a job as a telecom engineer. I always kept working, and all my life, 21 years of experience, I've always been deeply engrossed in sales and marketing. So when I had finished my telecom engineering, I have 2 friends who I could say are my career accountability colleagues or partners. And one of them made a mention that, Bob, you're such a go-getter, you can get anything you want, as long as you put your mind to it. But the problem when it comes to some of the things, you are getting things that you do not need. So I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you just did telecom engineering. What have you done with it? 1 year down the road, no training, you've not gone for physical field training as a telecom engineer, you've not looked for a job, you're still in your same things. You think you needed it. That's when I woke up. And this is the reason I did my MBA successfully. And I think I enjoyed it fully. And from that time, it was applying to what I do on a daily. So today we are talking about setting realistic goals rather. In the chat, I would like to see what are your goals for this year and for the time to come. Type in the chat, please. Feel free, let's be interactive. Another goal, another dream I had, which I knew I would get fulfilled at some point, was to have a family. And to have a family, I knew I needed to have someone in my life called a future partner. But I also had another target, to get married earlier than my dad did. Okay? That was my motivation. Get married earlier than your dad did. Don't get married at the same age. I don't know why I said it like that. But to get there, I knew I needed to find a partner. And these are thoughts that were running in me as early as as early as 17, 18 years. So I started working on that dream. I did not get to meet the right partner until I think I was 24. We dated for 4 years. After 4 years, we walked down the aisle, and we've been married for 16 years, now making 17. And we are blessed with 3 children. Now, I will come back to that bit of the story in my discussion as we go on. You may wonder, what has all this got to do with the topic today? Maybe you will connect, maybe through the explanation, you'll understand why. So, as we start, I need to put a warning across. You find many believers who go to the Bible and make quotations and they say, why should we plan? Why should we set goals? And these are some of the verses they use. Psalm 120, this is 127, not 129. Psalm 127 verse 2, which says, in vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat. For he, meaning the Lord, grants sleep to those he loves. And actually, there are even other versions say, he feeds those he loves while they are, he provides for those he loves while they are asleep. So why should we set goals? Why should we think of this and the other for tomorrow when the Lord can even provide for us when we're asleep? And they go even further to look at Matthew chapter 6, verse 31. So do not worry saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. So someone asks, why should I do this? Why should I be setting goals when my heavenly Father knows that I need that and this? But they forget this one specific. And actually, they don't stop there in that scripture. They even go to verse 34. Say, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough of its troubles. So they don't care about setting goals, because that is what the scripture seems to suggest. But they forget about Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, a people perish. What is a vision? A vision is about what we are discussing today. So in our topic today, we are looking at setting realistic goals as a youth or as youth. Setting is to put or lay down something or bring in a specified state. What do you want to see? You're trying to put it down, say, this is what I would want to see. And then being realistic is to have a sensible or practical idea that can be achieved or that can be expected to be seen. And goals, of course, we know they are aims or desired results or an objective. So when we talk about realistic goals, we are saying an objective or aim that is achievable or attainable within specific circumstances, using a specific skill set within a specific time frame. Okay, so you're looking at, are your goals feasible? Can they be achieved? Do I have what it takes to achieve them? They may be realistic. Like my dream of being a bishop was a realistic goal, very big realistic goal. I mean, a dream. But I did not set goals at that point on how to get there. The moment I realized there are goals you must achieve first to become a bishop, I think I backward out. And so every day we wake up, we have small goals, big goals, short term, long term, and medium term. But are they realistic? Are they achievable? Can we really look at the physical results tomorrow? So that leads us to the SMART criteria. Whenever you're talking about realistic goals, you cannot do away with the SMART criteria. What is SMART? SMART is being specific, having goals which are specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant, and are time-bound. For example, clearly, to be specific, it means it has to be clearly defined. For example, if your goal is to change jobs this year, the question is, how specific are you? From what job to what job? Are you going to change from one to any other? And when do you want to change that job? What does it take? Okay, you need to know the job you're doing and the job you would want. Then measurable, they must be quantified. For example, if you're on a weight loss program, you know that I am now weighing maybe 89 kgs, and I want to be at 75 in what kind of period. So they are measurable. You can measure the target, the goal you're setting. If it is about you're doing exercise and you want to increase the intensity, you want to become fitter, look at, I'm running, how much distance am I covering today? How much distance am I covering by end of the month? How much distance am I covering by mid of February? You know that is very measurable. If you're a farmer, you know, I want to start goat farming, or I'm a goat farmer. Right now I have 5 goats, but I want to grow to 20 goats in what period? So these are measurable. You can count the number of animals you have on your farm. If it is about ministry, you're engaged, if you're an evangelist, if you're going for missions, can know. Last year I was part of 3 evangelical missions. This year I want to do 12, 1 per month. That is, you know, that you can quantify it, so it is measurable. Then the other part of this criteria is attainable, able to achieve. what you have set, is it achievable? Talking about going for 12 ministry events, is it attainable? If you're working and you must be part of these events, how realistic is it? Okay, so you must set goals that are really attainable. Okay, then how relevant is it to your overall vision? Is the goal you're setting connected? Is it closely related to your vision? For example, going back to my big dream of becoming a bishop. Along the way, if by P7 and by senior one, I still wanted to be a bishop, and then I'm now saying I'll do law, how connected are these two? Is law relevant to becoming a bishop? Or if I am a sportsman, okay, and I'm saying I want to be a star, I want to be a professional sportsman. Let's say I'm a swimmer, but I'm doing a lot of jumping training than swimming, and I'm tracking my progress on jumping. But my dream, my big vision is to be an Olympian when it comes to swimming. Would it be a relevant goal that I've set? So there must be relevance in what I'm doing. Then time bound, of course, you put timelines. Say today, this is where I stand, and in 6 months' time, this is where I want to be. We've given an example of changing a job, given an example of weight loss, distance covered while you're training, animals that you're having. Or if you're doing a course online, and there are those courses online where you pick your own pace and say, I want to finish it in a year. Then you must say, in 3 months, how many course units should I have done out of probably 15? So you must, whatever goals you're setting, if you call them realistic, they must have timelines. Give an example of in the Bible, when you look at the story of Noah and the Noah's Ark, God gave Noah a specific goal. I want you to have built an ark within 40 years. And this ark must have these measurements. It was specific. Gave him the time, gave him the specific dimensions, what it would contain, what it would carry thereafter. All those were given. So it is a very good example of a realistic goal. However big it may be, however small it may be, it must have these, you must follow the SMART criteria. Now, realistic goals, we said to achieve them, you look at things like, what are your circumstances? Here we are specifically talking about the youth. A youth, as far as the Constitution of Uganda stops at what age? Age 35, according to the Constitution. And according to you, what age does your youth stop? Okay, maybe yours is you have set a different age limit for your youthfulness. Maybe I put it at 30, maybe I put it at 35. But you know, if you put it at 35, then you're going beyond the bracket of everyone's expectation of your youthfulness. So the circumstances must be looked at. As a youth, the goals that I'm setting, can I really achieve them? And we shall be looking at some of the examples. Let me first look at what you guys have put. I'm a child of a king and my father. Okay, realistic goals. Magistrate, getting dissolved in Christ. Questions, friends, okay. I'm not seeing the goals you people are having. Just let's share together. Let's share together, please, so that we can all enjoy the session. Okay? Okay. As we are looking at the circumstances, we also look at these goals you're setting. Do you have the skill set to attain them? There are two things that we normally confuse: the ability and capability. ability to do something. I'm able, for example, as a sportsman, to run. I'm able to swim. I'm able to do ABCD. I'm able to do farming. I have learned to do it. And I have the energy to do it. But do you have the capability, the required capability, the power to do it? Power goes beyond the ability, the power to do it. Yes, I can run, but do I have the power? Do I have the capability to do the Olympic training? Do I have the capability to do the farming I am dreaming to have? Okay, I have the land, I have the energy. Do I have the money to do all these other things? Do I have the technical know-how on how to do the kind of farming I want to do? Okay, all these come within. Then, of course, circumstances come with the time frame that we talked about, the age limit as a youth. Are you looking at short-term goals, medium-term, and long-term goals? All these things that we are talking about must be very much looked into. So this brings us to the key aspects of the realistic goals. And what are these key aspects? Key aspect number one is being achievable and practical. What resources do you need and how accessible are they to you? Okay, what resources do you need and how accessible are they to you? For example, the example of I want to be consumed in Christ. What resources do you need? I need to be, for example, part of a Bible study group. I need to dedicate time to more of reading the book, the word, and being part of ministry ABCD. I need to have time for prayer and fasting. Do you have the time? Do you have these groups to help you nourish your spiritual life? Do you have people to walk with you in the spiritual life so that you can fully get consumed? Do you have ministries to participate in? Are they accessible to you? What skills do you require? Okay, I will keep mixing examples so that for better understanding, because I know goals are different, so they come with different requirements. If I want to change a job, yeah, do I have the skill set it requires to go to the next level, to go to the next job that I want? Okay, and what limitations do I have at hand? So at this point, you more like do the SWOT analysis of yourself and what you're trying to achieve. What strength do I have? What strength within the system in which I am operating? And what are the weaknesses that I face? What are the opportunities that are available for me to do what I want to do? And what are the threats? Okay. For example, being youth, majority of you, I believe, are not married. So assuming your goal is to get married and you have set it, you want to get married by 2028. So number one, you've said, I need a partner. Do you have one? The box is ticked is marked with X. I do not have one. What do I require? I need to find one. Maybe you found one, but you found that this person, there's competition involved. Those are now threats. The person is available, but there's competition involved, which you must overcome. Your strength is that you're God-fearing, and this other person is also God-fearing, so you can talk and communicate at some wavelength. Okay? The weakness is that you may not be able to sustain the interactions as often as you would wish to have them for several reasons. And what is the opportunity? We already talked about they are available, but then their variability is not cut and paste in concrete. There are threats like competition around. Okay, so you need to look at this, and then so how do I lay the strategy to get forward to talking to these people, and then make sure that this specific person helps me to achieve my goal of being married, and being married with this person come 2028. We shall go deeper into that later. The other key aspect is real goals and realistic goals are motivating, but also at the same time challenging. Setting realistic goals does not mean that getting to them is a bed of roses. No, they are not easy, but they are also very possible to achieve with dedication. So you must be very committed and you must be consistent. Remember, aspect number one is that the realistic goals must be achievable and practical. Number two, they must be motivating, but also challenging. If you find that you have set a goal without any challenges, chances are even when you attain, you won't feel the joy of attaining it because you feel like it has been handed over to you. You've not worked for it. When it is a bit challenging, get the motivation of going forward for what you have set forward. The other aspect is subjective. You know, when you're setting a goal, we said it has to be relevant to you. So relativity is very key. Individual context is very important. Take note of. One man's meat is another man's what? Poison. Reminds me when we were studying earlier in school, the teacher was teaching us about idioms, and they asked one guy, please complete this idiom. One man's meat is another. He said, one man's meat is another man ate it. So, but we are saying one man's meat is another man's poison. What is good for you may not be good for the other. My goals cannot exactly be like yours. Even when we're in the same class, same fellowship, same church, same age, we cannot have exactly the same. How relevant are they? For example, we have started work, and I'm saying my goal by the end of the year is to buy a car. And then you also put it there as your goal. Do you know where I'm going to get the money from? Is the money going to come from my salary, even when we are earning the same? Find that I'm setting a goal because probably before I even started work, I had savings from my parents or from wherever it is. I was doing business before and I saved some money. So now I want to be topping up from my salary by end of year to have enough money for the what? For the car. Then you go forward for you also set the same goal. Or when you see me driving a car, you feel jealous and say, how can you? Then you start going to incur debts for you to also start now driving like me. Say, no, how can Bob be driving when I'm not yet? We have studied together, we started working together. No, I must also be driving. And these days we get so many people following other people's dreams, following other people's goals without setting their own, looking at what is there, how relevant is it to them. For example, if I can, you've seen many people who start constructing and they take ages to finish their houses. Yet there are others who start constructing and within 1 year they have finished and they are staying in their homes. It is not possible for everyone. Whereas it is possible for one, it is not possible for the other. This person could be using resources from inheritance, and another one, you're relying basically on your work. And so you cannot set the same goals, however realistic they may look on paper, but in how relevant are they to you? The other aspect is you must have it very well defined. Clear deadlines. I must avoid being vague, okay? Be very straight to the point. For example, my firstborn is 15 years. And when he was young, he wanted to be a fireman. Young children always want to, where power is wielded, a fireman, a fighter who is, who saves people and she's showing power and energy. As he grew up, he started getting to age 7, 8. The dream changed. Actually, he even forgot about it. He wanted to become a STEM engineer. He has consistently kept that. By age 12, he brought it lower. Not just a mere STEM engineer, but he wants to be, what do they call him? A computer engineer. Then he has gone down from a computer engineer. There's another branch. So he has narrowed it now. He's making it clearer and clearer. And he has even put a deadline. He has put by age so this, I should be this kind of engineer. Okay. I have another one who is 10. His dream is a footballer, is play for Manchester United. And he has worked towards it. He has medals and awards in the home. He keeps pointing at them. You see, now I've gotten this. The next one should be this. And he's working towards that. So he has defined his path to getting his. Now, that is what we say, well-defined. But imagine if this, my 15-year-old son is saying, I want to be a STEM engineer without the specific engineering of the STEM that he wants to narrow to. It would be very hard to achieve. Okay? So why do we set realistic goals? Can't we just have goals? Can't we have goals and then we shall find things aligned for us somehow? The universe will align itself to what we are saying. Yes, it becomes aligned to what you're saying only when you are clear on what you want to do. So when we set realistic goals, it increases our success rate. So why? Because you'll spend less time in non-relevant things. You have less likelihood of burnout and disappointments. Like I sit and I ask myself, the time I was doing telecom engineering, if I really had drawn my route map, what do I want to achieve after this? What do I want to achieve after this stage and the other? I feel disappointed that I disappointed myself by doing that course. It was just ego. It was just a feel-good thing. Can you imagine no one even ever addresses me as an engineer, despite having spent all those years back at school? It is very disappointing. Can you imagine? But if you have set your realistic goals and why you have, to be sincere, it was not relevant for me that time. So if I have set goals that are relevant to you, the likelihood of such disappointments are not there. Then the other thing, it boosts your motivation and self-esteem. And when you are setting goals, don't set big chunks. Start with short-term, then mid-term, and then long-term. Why? Achieving small, manageable milestones builds confidence for larger long-term goals. For example, if you're on a weight loss program and you want to reduce 10 kilograms in 1 year, you cannot start by looking at 10. Say, in 1 year, I want to lose 10. Or some people may even set in 6 months or even 3 months. It is very possible. So what is my target for the first month? Maybe my target for the first month is 1 kg. And then you keep monitoring. And what am I doing to make sure that I reduce it? I change my diet, I increase exercise, I do this, so that you are able to track your achievements on smaller milestones than setting a bigger one. That's how, when you set realistic goals, that's how you get up. Imagine you're planning to save 2 million in the 1 year. And then you say, how much will I need to save per year? I mean, per month. Then you start tracking yourself. After 3 months, you say, how much do I have in my account? Oh, so I have this much? Okay, great. So since I have this much, now I'm falling short of maybe 200,000 I mean 100,000 according to what I should have. I should have saved by now. Where do I cut on the expenses to make sure that I catch up with my expense goals? I mean, savings goals. Then when you set realistic goals, you maximize resources. It helps you to focus your time and energy effectively instead of doing courses you shouldn't have done, instead of running around into farming projects you shouldn't have done, instead of concentrating on activities that do not really add value to your overall vision. You get to focus your time and energy efficiently. Here are some of the examples I had said, but before we look at that, let me go back to the chart and see what you have. At 3 years, I borrowed my parents that I want to become a president. Afterwards, I switched to become a lawyer, ICT teacher, chief in local government, which I think I'm still on the way. Thank you, Annette. Then, okay, Sharon, a pilot, a magistrate, engineer, and finally pursued finance. However, still have a dream to become a chef. Oh, wow, a cocktail of dreams. Becoming a civil engineer, but points couldn't allow, so later joined the electrical field, still dreaming of becoming a maintenance engineer in aerospace industry. Another man ate it. Great. Before I received Christ, I used to copy other people's dreams. I always set goals. Okay. Began with to become a doctor. I switched to lawyer after studying 1 year in law. At the CLLA, I switched to procurement where I am and happy with it. Now, one other thing I must mention is as we grow the path we take, we interact with different people, different circumstances, and somehow our dreams keep changing because of this. But when you have realistic dreams, even when they change, they may not change drastically, 360 degrees. No, 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 no. You find that there are aspects of your dreams of your goals that you have set that are changed a bit, but you have retained the vision. So let's look at some of the examples I had put here. If you have an agricultural background, which most of us as Ugandans have, you come from a family which at least has some agricultural activities. Either they are cattle keepers or they are cultivators into matoke or sorghum or sugarcane or whichever it is. But here I used an example of goats because I love goats so much. I used to do goat farming before I started getting diverted into many other things. So assuming you have set a goal and you're saying, I want to start a farm next week with 200 goats. It's not realistic. It's not realistic. Why? Even if you had the money, you had the land, you go and they fence it, you can't buy 200 goats and put them in one go. They will die because goats need to get to acclimatize to the environment slowly with fewer numbers, and then you start growing them slowly. What would be the realistic goal here? I will fence my land for goat farming by March, for example. Get a farm manager, then starting for the right goat breeds so that they grow through a gradual process, not all at once. If you're looking at your career, you can't wake up and you have worked for 1 year in a company and you say, I have prayed to the Almighty, I will become the head of department next week where I work. God showed it to me. There are times when we get confused. You have prayed, you get a dream or a vision and say, God showed me getting it. But in most times when God says, you'll become this, the case is he does not say, put a date to it. So you say, God showed it to me, I'm becoming head of department because I've been praying. And you know that head of department is not even a believer. So God has showed it to me. Next week it is coming. God cannot give you something without preparing you. For example, you know the story of King David, anointed, takes 17 years to be a king after the anointment. Was it 17 or thereabout? Joseph, he dreams of his brothers bowing before him. Takes 17 years again before that actually happened. He went through a lot of training as a housekeeper, as a prisoner, until he got the training to be there. So even when you have prayed and God has showed you visions, you're setting your goals, you can't say, I become head of department next week. There are things that you must follow. So for example, what is the realistic goal? I'll get relevant management training through courses. I'll ask for assignments that equip me better through progressive experience. So if there is an opportunity by end of 2027, I will apply. I will have gotten enough experience, for example. That is very realistic. In that way, it takes us back to this, focusing your time and energy efficiently, okay? Marriage. You do not have a partner, then you say, I'll get married next week. I'll get married next week. No, you need to lay, it is a process. I'll get married, for example, in 2027. Yeah? And the fact that I'm talking to the youth, let me also emphasize this. As a counselor, we have counseled couples. Incidentally, when they are brought to us, they are brought us to prepare them for marriage. My wife and I do premarital counseling under St. Luke's Ntinda Church of Uganda. So people who have registered, they want to get married. They normally get allocated different couples whom should prepare for that. Then you ask someone, for how long have you known each other? There's a couple which had known each other for barely 4 months. 4 months. Good people. We know things have changed in this era, but not everything is about speed. Okay? You need to get to know someone through dating. After dating, you go into courtship. The courtship, you now say this is the right what? Partner to get married to. But you get someone today, they are born again next week, down the aisle. Then 3 months down the road, trips to the counselor. The devil is fighting. There is no devil fighting. You did not prepare well. You set your goals wrongly. Okay? Another example is on travel. For example, you say, I want to go to USA on Monday. Today is Saturday. It's not possible. You probably don't have a passport. You don't have a visa. So you don't even have a ticket. How do you get to go to the USA on Monday? Then you pray and fast, and then on Monday, nothing. Why? Because you didn't have the resources. You didn't have the circumstances were not in agreement with your goal. So what would be the realistic way? Let's say I'll go to the USA next year in May, okay? And what do you need to do? I need a passport. Do I have? No. I'll apply in 1 month's time. I have my passport. Then I go and I apply for the visa. Do I have the visa? Yes, it has come maybe by December or whichever time. Then now I buy a ticket. So when you are looking at May next year, it's very realistic. You can attain all those 3 things in that time period. The most important, the most difficult to get being the visa. But if you want to go on Monday, even if you said you want to go in May, this May 2026, it is not possible unless it is a special, really circumstance, really very special. So as we are looking at these examples, what are the enablers of realistic goal setting? We looked at the aspects, we looked at the examples, we looked at the SMART criteria. Now, some of the enablers to realistic goal setting: number 1, write down your bigger term vision and then break down your goals to achieving that vision, so that your goals should be aligned to your vision and they are relevant instead of following other people's visions. That's why we see we've been talking about in the chat I had this dream, then I wanted to be this, I wanted to be the other. Things keep changing. Why? Because we did not have a reference point that can remind us that, look here, this is what you wanted to be, and this is what you are. And this is biblical. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2 says, write the vision and make it plain on the tablet, that the that he may run who reads it. You are the one to read the same, and so that you can run towards your what? Your vision. And your vision will determine your goals. Then find the right support system, the mentors, the source of resources, and the friends to support you and encourage you. You cannot be talking about, I want to be part of 6 ministry. I want to go for ministry. I want to be part of evangelical outreach programs, 6 of them this year. Yeah. But you do not even stay. After you own a good church on Sunday, and after church, you run away. Okay? It does not make sense. Does not make sense. So you need to be with the right support system around you. Need to look for the right mentors. If you want to grow in career, for example, your target is to become head of department in your current company. Have you engaged with people who are more senior to you? Talk to them, learn from them what it takes to be. Have you checked yourself? What are the leadership skills I'm lacking? What are the ones that I have that I can improve? And the ones I don't have, I can pick. Okay? So that you are able to set you're able to achieve your goals that you have set very well because of the support system you have. Then the other thing I'll keep emphasizing is the relevance. Why should I attain the goal? Is it really worth the toil? Was it relevant for me to go back to school to do telecom engineering? I've seen people who are into marketing. They are torn between doing chartered marketing or doing MBA. Which one is relevant to you? How relevant is whichever course you want to do? How relevant is the dating program you have? The person you're dating, do they meet the criteria of the kind of partner you'd want for a future wife or for a future husband? Find that I'll start dating, you go ahead, but then you find that you are wasting time with the wrong person. Okay, so these are enablers to realistic goal setting. Now, as believers, you need to remember this at all times. God is what? Almighty. And in setting your goals, remember James chapter 4, verses 13 to 16. What does it say? Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry our own business and make money. Why you do not even know what will happen tomorrow? What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that, as it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. So even when you set goals, however realistic are, put them before the Lord and say, God willing, I should have this farm. God willing, I should start this job. God willing, I should make these savings. God willing, I'll do ABCD. Why? Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. We know that. And then reminds me of Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. And this was King Solomon saying, I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor though does food come from the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the land, but time and chance happen to them all. Other versions say, being in the right time, being in the right place at the right time. You may set the goals, but also you need to be in the right place at the right time for you to achieve your goals. And who enables you to do that? The Almighty. Surrender all your plans to God and they will succeed. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. That's what I had to share, and I pray that it has been impactful or helped someone on the call. Thank you. Back to moderator.
Thank you so much, Uncle Bob. You have done us really well. We thank God. Friends, let's appreciate our preacher in the chat. Indeed, we need to set realistic goals, and thank you so much for giving us the enablers that will give us a go-ahead on the plans we have put down, and many of us, we have looked into what we have shared, and we shall go back and re-strategize, grab some, and add some on our list. Thank you so much. I know we are out of time, but I had a question here. I don't know if they have answered it in the due course. The sharing. 4 years. What kept?
Sorry, Susan, you're breaking.
There was a question. I don't know if you are hearing me now.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Someone was asking. Let me get back the question. Someone was asking, you dated for all that long? Was it realistic that you dated for all the 4 years? What kept you pushing? And how did you pursue purity during that period?
Oh, thank you. What kept me going? When I first met my wife now, yes, I felt the conviction that this is my partner to be for life. We went, it was not a smooth ride. At 1.5 years, I was asking my question, is she the right one? Also on the other side, she was asking questions, is he the right man? So it was, can't say it was all a smooth ride all the way. It was not a smooth ride. But what helped us was that we were friends, and up to now we are very good friends. And that is what I would advise anyone, to be friends with your partner that God has chosen for you. Without friendship, things can become rough. And so at 1.5 years, I was asking myself, do I really want to continue with this? Why? Because of the weaknesses I had seen in her, and also she had seen weaknesses in me. But the beauty is we would talk about it and say, this can be done, this can't be done. So in those years, I learned where patience is required. I learned what I can change and what I cannot change, that I can live with for the rest of my life. And that's how the journey went. Thank you. And maybe also you talked about the purity bit of it. You need to know your safe distance, how to keep your safe distance. The closer they get to the fire, the higher the chances of melting away. So keep a safe distance, not to melt the ghee before it's time. And I'm not saying a 4 should be a cut and paste for everyone. No, 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 no. No, no, no. There are people who have successful marriages after 2 years of dating. But talking about just a mere month, 6 months, I think that is a bit risky.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe Susan, as you try to get, I think
the resources seem limited.
Yes, that question I've seen, what can someone do if the dreams are too big yet resources are limited? I talked about breaking them down. Look at your dream, look at the goals that you need to achieve. They are always short term, mid term, and the long term. Because dreams are lifetime dreams, but goals are it is a package of goals that you have to go through. Okay, I gave an example of my childhood dream of becoming a bishop. I mean, I needed to first make sure along the way I become a catechist, get into church service. That was goal number one to achieve. Then what are you doing from there? Go for theological training. Those were the short-term and mid-term goals. So break down, look at your dream, and then look at the small goals that you need to achieve that run you to there. So the smaller the goals, the smaller the smaller the resources. And that's what I was talking about. For example, if you want to be head of department, don't say, this position needs masters. I don't have that money now to go for masters. No. What course can you do now, let's say in 3, 4, 6 months, that increases your value at the workplace, where you'll be identified for more assignments and probably will come with salary increment. And as the salary increments come in, now it facilitates you to go for your the other bigger course that you want. So you break down the goals that will run you to the bigger what? The bigger dream achievement. I hope that is answered.
Thank you so much, Uncle Bob. We have answered all the questions. Thank you so much, friends. I know we are 14 minutes in the time, but we thank God we have learned, we have unlearned, and we have gained much in today's sharing. And I will call upon my brother Gershom to lead us in a closing prayer. Over to you, Gershom, and also give a vote of thanks to our preacher.